The inventor promised a device that would revolutionize every city. He stood on a stage, breathless, describing a future where the automobile would become obsolete. Investors scrambled to throw money at his feet. Steve Jobs called it as significant as the personal computer. John Doerr, the legendary venture capitalist, predicted it would reach $1 billion in sales faster than any product in history. And then, the reality hit. The Segway didn't just fail, it became the punchline of a decade. It was the ultimate case study in hubris, design myopia, and the fatal gap between hype and human behavior. Before the crash, Dean Kamen was hailed as the next Edison. He was an eccentric genius with a resume filled with life-saving inventions, from advanced dialysis machines to specialized wheelchairs. When word got out that he was working on something big, codenamed Ginger, the world lost its mind. Journalists were begging for leaks. The premise was intoxicating, a self-balancing, two-wheeled transporter that could glide across city sidewalks. It was supposed to end congestion, kill the car, and redefine personal mobility. By 2001, when the Segway HT was finally revealed on Good Morning America, it was hyped as the most anticipated product launch of the 21st century. But in the quiet, sterile boardrooms of the backers, nobody was asking the most important question: do people actually want to look like this in public? Within the first year of release, the dream began to fracture. The price tag was the first wall. At nearly $5,000, it wasn't a consumer gadget, it was a luxury toy for the curious and the wealthy. But the real problem was the law. Cities across the globe reacted with immediate hostility. Sidewalks were meant for pedestrians, and streets were meant for cars. The Segway lived in a legal purgatory, too fast for the sidewalk, too slow for the road, and entirely banned from both in many major jurisdictions. The company had spent hundreds of millions on the technology, but they had spent zero on the urban infrastructure it required to exist. But wait. It gets worse. While the company was busy trying to convince police departments to patrol on Segways, the product became a cultural pariah. It was seen as the vehicle of choice for mall cops and tourists who were too lazy to walk. It stripped away the coolness factor that the marketing promised. The vision of a sleek, futuristic commuter was replaced by the image of someone wearing a helmet, looking awkward, and rolling at a top speed of 12.5 miles per hour. The company burnt through $100 million in development and early operations before even hitting a fraction of their projected sales. They were burning cash on manufacturing plants built for millions of units that sat empty. By 2009, the man who dreamed of saving the world from the automobile was forced to sell the company. The failure was so complete that the brand became synonymous with over-engineered nonsense. The technology itself wasn't bad, in fact, the gyroscope sensors were revolutionary, but the application was a masterclass in missing the forest for the trees. Kamen had built a solution looking for a problem that didn't exist in the way he imagined. People didn't hate walking as much as he thought, and they certainly weren't going to pay the price of a used motorcycle for a glorified pogo stick. The climax of the Segway saga wasn't a sudden bankruptcy or a dramatic trial. It was a slow, painful evaporation of relevance. The company tried pivoting to delivery robots, to warehouse transport, to everything under the sun, but the brand was already radioactive. The Segway was the product of a bubble, conceived by men who lived in a silo of wealth and technical brilliance, completely disconnected from the messy, chaotic reality of the average urban citizen. They thought they were building the future. They were actually building a museum piece. They ignored the fact that urban movement is shaped by culture, by policy, and by cost. They prioritized the mechanics over the market. They expected the world to change for them. Instead, the world just ignored them. The $100 million investment didn't just vanish, it served as a brutal lesson for every Silicon Valley founder that followed. You cannot invent a culture. You can only serve the one that exists. The Segway went out with a whimper, not a bang, leaving behind only the ghosts of a transportation revolution that never moved an inch. If this history of misplaced genius shocked you, you must watch our deep dive into the $500 million movie Pass Catastrophe, where another group of visionaries tried to change human behavior and lost their shirts in the process.